Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate all your contributions, especially in the comments section. I really appreciate your feedback. It's so encouraging to know that we are making a difference in other people's lives. It's very encouraging. Sometimes I come here and just share my experiences and just think I've just shared. But the feedback that I'm getting, I'm really appreciating that feedback. And today I want to talk about the importance of record keeping, the importance of keeping records as a special needs parent. That is very important. If you are here for the first time and this is your first time to see me, to come across my YouTube channel, my name is Nerissa. And I'm a mom to 3 children. One of my children, the middle child, is on the autism spectrum. He was diagnosed about 10 years ago. He is 12 now. So he was diagnosed about 10 years ago. And from 10 years ago, in fact, from birth, I'm just a person who loves keeping records. I love journaling. It helps me. It's part of my self-care routine. So writing, keeping records, just keeping records for me to understand my own patterns has always been something that I enjoy doing for my own mental health. And when I gave birth to all my children, I've always been journaling, keeping records, keeping keeping information, because it helps me to go back and look and see what I need to do better, where I need to change. And when now I gave birth to my son, whom 2 years later we found out that he's on the autism spectrum, what helped me to express myself or to express my parental concerns to professionals was the fact that I was also keeping records of my child's development. It helped me even from the very first consultation until when he was going for therapy, all that season where we were going for occupational therapy, speech therapy, the assessments, the tests that he was done, the results would get. I kept record of that. And I just thought I'm just doing something that I enjoy doing. I did not know that one day that would come and help me. Then about 7 years later, we migrated from Africa and came to Europe, United Kingdom. And those records worked to my advantage. Those records worked to my advantage. Have you ever been asked, imagine my son is 12 now, and I still meet professionals because he keep getting different departments who are getting referred to him, also who now come into our life and they want to work with him. And you know what? Some of the first questions that I receive when I meet those new professionals who will be added to my life, to my son's life, the first questions that I get, the common questions, they have to do with how he was when he was born. They have to do with my gestation period. How long did I carry the pregnancy? How many kilograms was he? How much weight was he weighing at birth? And how was his general behavior as an infant? How long did we stay in the hospital? And some of these things you can easily forget, considering that after him, I gave birth again to another child. So you can imagine if we just don't keep records, we can easily lose information. And that information, you might think it's not useful at the moment, only to be shocked when you realize that 10 years later, 20 years later, that information is required to make some decisions, or that information is required for professionals to do their further investigations. So in this video, I want to talk about the importance of keeping records, the importance of record keeping. I don't know how many parents I've spoken to, and I've always said it's very important to keep records. Have a way of keeping records. Have a way of having your records in place as a parent, because you never know when you're gonna need that information. And when you found that you don't keep information that is as crucial as information about your own child, even professionals, they are human beings. They stop taking us seriously when they realize that we don't pay attention to detail. I was telling the other friend who is also a special needs parent, saying that when I go even for reviews, I go with a notebook. I go and I take note of what they are saying. If they say today we are doing these tests, I make notes of that. Why? Because I want to understand. I ask questions as well. As a parent, when you go for these consultations, don't be intimidated and think, okay, the doctor said this, but I don't understand why they are saying that. The doctor said we must go for MRI scan and I don't know what it is. The doctor said we must go for x-rays and I don't know what it is. The doctor said we must do CT scan and I don't know what it is. Ask questions. Professionals actually enjoy it when we ask them those questions. Why are you suggesting an MRI scan? What is it that you want to find out? What is it that you are suspecting? What is it that you want to verify with this test, with this examination you want to do on my child? Ask those questions. Let them answer. Don't leave the consultation room without some answers asked. Without some answers to the questions that you have. And even when you are at home and some things are happening, record those things down. Because what happens is, if you don't record things at home, when you finally walk into the doctor's room, you have been maybe sitting in the queue, in the corridor for a long time. By the time they call your name, you can't even remember why you are there. And if you haven't been keeping any record, it's easy for the doctor to say, what is the problem? And you can't remember what exactly is the problem. Or, okay, maybe it's you are not there for a specific problem to be attended on that visit, but it's a review. And this is a review that you have been waiting for weeks or even months. You have been waiting for this appointment. And there you come, your golden opportunity. You come there and you can't remember the things that were bothering you 2 weeks ago at home. You can't even remember those things. You can't even share with them, with the doctor. And the doctor doesn't stay with you. And the doctor is not the parent of that child. You have to be on the forefront of keeping records. Tell the doctor, I'm so concerned about this. I remember a few months ago in one of the meetings with the professionals that regularly held for my son. And I remember mentioning that I'm seeing my son, he has got these pimples. I raised those concerns, and I then remember the social worker reminding me, hey, remember Chris is growing. It could be puberty. But that is how much I pay attention to details when it comes to my son. When they say, is there any other concern? I rather raise a concern and then the professionals tell you it's not a concern, than to look like you have everything under control and then only realize you missed some of the information, or you missed some important things that you were supposed to pay attention to. The changes that are happening in your child, pay attention to those changes. Don't just say, already, if you are like me, I wasted the first 1 or 2 years of my son's diagnosis time. I wasted in denial already, just looking and not doing anything about it. But now, because I know I've already wasted time, I'm not wasting time anymore, because my son is growing and his needs are growing as well. So I need to pay attention to that. Record even sleeping patterns, record them. If he is on new medication, pay attention to details, the changes in behaviors, the changes in any patterns that you can see that this, he didn't used to do this. That's how even you are able to pick up whether he's having an allergic reaction to something that the professionals have recommended. And that's when also you are able to tell that this is working for my son and this is not working. Even in terms of therapy, that's where if you are keeping record and you know the patterns of your child, you are able to confront them and say, I don't think that works for Chris, because I've tried it for so much time and I've seen these are the patterns of behavior and this is how it has interrupted his usual routine. But with no record keeping and keeping track, you will just be there sitting and waiting for the professionals to make all the decisions on your behalf. Remember, you are only in that room, in the doctor's room, sometimes not even for more than 30 minutes. So you cannot expect them to be the one giving you more information about their child. You are actually the one who is supposed to be offloading a lot of information when you meet them, because whatever assessment, whatever conclusion they make, most of the time depends on what information you give them. If you give them little information, you're making it difficult for them to make a proper recommendation, because you are the one who stays with the child. Give them correct information so that they can use that information to the best of their ability to assist you and your child. And how do you do that? By keeping records. You actually have accurate information to give. Some of us, we see the doctors once a month. Some we see the doctors maybe once in 3 months, or once in 6 months, or once a year. So if you don't keep record, will you remember what happened between the last time you saw the doctor and now? Will you remember everything that has been happening? All those highs, all those lows, will you remember them? You won't remember them. That is why you need to record. You need to keep notes about your child's development. You need to record what is going on well and what is not going on well. That's why when you go now into the consultation room, the doctor will ask you, how is he these days? And you are talking to somebody who last saw your child maybe 6 months ago. So, but if you have a notebook, you can say, you know, that month we left this place, he was like this. The following month, he was like this. Give a summary. He was like this. So for the past 5 months, this is basically how he has been. You will see even the doctors, they will look at you differently, because already they see some seriousness in you. A person who keeps record, they even have an accurate report. Their report is more accurate. You don't have to show the doctors your notebook, but you can actually be the one referring it to it. That's why even at the hospital, they keep records, because they cannot remember everything about their clients. So why not only keep record for your own child? Have records. I want to discuss this in detail. One of the reasons why you should keep records as a parent is it helps you to understand your child more clearly. Even yourself, not even talking about the professionals. Yourself, once you start, I want to challenge, for those parents who have never kept records, I want to challenge you to do even a 7-day challenge where you just record what time he woke up, what he has been doing, even if it means recording what he's doing. If for those who are not yet going to school, you're spending the whole day with them, record every hour what the child is doing for 7 days. You will see, you will actually understand your child much more better than you used to do before you were recording. Record what time they went to bed, what they ate. The following day, record what time they woke up. Did they even sleep throughout the night? And if they didn't, what was the problem? Is it because they were not feeling well? What made them restless? Keep those records and you will see they will help you. It also helps you to see where you are missing it as a parent. If you make a very honest record that you keep for the next 7 days, just take a notebook and record what time did the child wake up, what was their first meal, how much fluids did they take in, what did they have for lunch, what did they have for dinner, what time did they go to bed. You do that for 7 days. You will realize by just going through that report yourself that I think I need to improve this area. If I improve this area, this meltdown we had here will not repeat itself. And it helps you to track progress over time. You understand your child, you will also be able to track, because you understand also as you record, even if it's a meltdown, record what happened before the meltdown, because that will help you understand the trigger. What triggered, what causes stress and sensory overload. Then you avoid or minimize those things. What calms your child? Keep a record of that. What is it that calms your child when they are distressed? What situation leads to meltdowns or shutdowns? You can see the pattern, because now you have somewhere where you are recording. And we have said to track progress over time. Over time, you realize some of the things you were struggling with, you now know what is triggering and you avoid that. And small improvements can be easy to miss. For example, when they start communicating using verbal communication, you might not see you might not remember how many words they were speaking in a day when they started talking. But imagine if you were recording, or if they are not yet speaking, and the day they start speaking, if you can record that on this day they said this word, and that the only word they said. Or if they are not walking yet, on this day they did the first step. Then maybe after 3 days they started talking 3 phrase sentences. It also helps you to keep a track record of the new skills that they acquire, be it crawling, the behavior changes, what therapies or strategies are working. So that when you go back to the therapist next time, you tell them, I think this does not work. And it boosts confidence in your parenting styles yourself. You become more confident because you have now a record of what works and what doesn't work. But if you are just doing everything, it boosts your confidence and it keeps the expectations realistic. You become more real, you become more grounded, and you know exactly what works and what does not work if you are keeping records. But if you're not keeping records, doing everything and anything, trying and error every time, you won't know and understand the patterns because there is no system in place. The other reason why you have to keep records as a parent of a special needs child, records help to support consistent routines. It becomes easier if there is records in place. Autistic children are often rely on consistency. You have to be consistent. Having logs or charts that help you as a parent, it helps you to keep the routine predictable. It helps the smooth transition between tasks, and it reduces anxiety and confusion. Record keeping makes daily life more structured and calm. That's why sometimes you see that during school days, the child is more calmer because there is structure at school. They know we do this, then we do this, then we do this. But at home, there is no structure. We wake up, and after waking up, we can start by playing. Then the other day, we start by bathing. The other day, we start by going to the shops. There is no structure in place. Let them have a routine in place where they know when I wake up, my activities are like this in order. And also discuss with the child even a night before of the plans of tomorrow. What is it that we are doing tomorrow? What are the important things that you need to be doing tomorrow? You are teaching them and preparing them for life as well. Reason number 4 why record keeping is important for special needs parents: to improve communication with professionals. It helps to improve communication with professionals that we work with, the therapists, the teachers, the doctors. Because you are actually going to be giving them the same information. Not when you are consulting with the doctor, you are saying something else about what triggers your child. When now the therapist is asking you, you are saying something different. Now when the teachers at school are asking you why this is happening, you saying something different. It's like you have 3 versions of your child, depending on which professional you're talking to. And that in places like where I am, where all those professionals actually also talk to each other about your child, they can pick up that you are not honest. They can pick up that there are things that you say that are not consistent. What you say to the therapist should be the same things you say to the teachers about that particular aspect of your child. If the trigger is loud noises and you're telling that to your doctor, make sure that is what you also tell the teachers. Make sure that is what you also tell the therapist. You cannot be saying different things, especially on factual information, like what causes your child to have restless nights. The reason should be the same reasons that you give to all the people. And sometimes those inconsistencies are caused by we can't remember. And you know why we can't remember? Most of the times because it's not the truth. Because if it's the truth, you cannot forget the truth. We know what is easy to forget, right? The opposite of truth is difficult to remember because it's not there, it's not the truth. But the truth is easy to remember. You can be asked so many times, you will remember it because it is the truth. You don't need to remember it actually because that's how it is. But if you tell lies to some professionals and tell others the truth, you end up not knowing where you said the truth and who you lied to. And believe you me, there is no need to lie about your child to professionals. There is no need. Those people are there to support your child, to help you help your child. So record keeping helps to improve communication, improve in terms of being authentic. It helps you to be authentic, because what you have written down, you are going to tell it to the doctor, the same thing. You are going to tell to the teachers, the same thing. You are even going to tell it to your own family, is the same thing, according to your discretion of what you can share with your family and professionals. Records allow everyone in the team to see the same information. And it also helps to understand challenges that you are facing at home clearly. And it helps to adjust the support plans quickly. Records. If you keep a clean record, a clear, clean, correct record, parents become strong advocates when they bring concrete examples instead of guesswork. You don't want to be guessing about when your child had last a meltdown. No, you don't have to guess things like that. You should be knowing it happened. Like, when was the last elopement incident? You don't have to guess about it. You should just be knowing when the elopement incident happened, because it's a huge thing and it's distressing. Record it, what had happened on that day. So you stop using guesswork, because you have somewhere where you keep those notes and it helps you. Then the other reason I want to talk about the benefits of having record keeping intact. It helps you to prepare for appointments and assessments. We have already said it helps you to communicate properly with professionals. Now, keeping your records, you remember the last meeting I had with the therapist, we discussed this and this and this and this. So tomorrow I'm going to that appointment again with the therapist. So I need to look at what happened from the last time we had an appointment up until now. That helps you to prepare for the meeting that you're gonna have, because you're keeping records. And it helps you, this record keeping, it helps you to keep the dates. It helps you to note the behavior changes as you are preparing for the appointments and assessments with professionals. If you are keeping records, you will know the dates when that elopement happened. You will know. I remember there was a time when my son was having seizures. Yes, seizures. And the learning disability department had to bring a sheet, a log, where we were supposed to record how often those seizures were happening. That's when I realized that this thing of keeping records is very important. It helps the professional so that they can make the correct recommendations. So we had to study him, look at him when he's having seizures, how often in a day, and when he has the seizure, how long would it last? And it helped. And with the therapies, now we don't have seizures anymore. But if I had not paid attention to that chart, I tell you, it was a tedious, because you had to observe him every hour and check how many seizures he's having in an hour. And how long does that seizure last within that hour? So we needed to have that log. Keep records. It helps with the developmental observations, with the sensory concerns. Have an organized notebook. It makes discussion accurate and efficient. And it strengthens the child's case. Whatever you're trying to let people know, the professionals know, whatever you want them to understand, if you are keeping records, you are going to have an accurate story of your child. So I encourage you to keep a record. Reason number 6, or benefit number 6, record keeping reduces stress and anxiety. Record keeping reduces stress and anxiety. You don't want to rely on your memory. You do not want to rely on your memory. I remember back then when my eldest son, who is now 14, was in grade 1 back in South Africa. They used to have this teacher who was very big on reading books, and she would say, tell back your story and write it down. So they would go to the library and borrow books and then read those books, and then you should be able to write a sentence or two of what you have learned from the chapter you have read. So if you would come back to school and you haven't written anything in your homework book, she would say you didn't read. Even if I'm actually the one who was reading for him, so all he needed to do was to pay attention and tell back what he has understood to me, and then write, even if it's one sentence, write in his homework book. If you'd go back to school without writing down, the teacher would say it means it didn't happen. So up to now, we have this language in our house that if you don't write it down, it did not happen. The fact that you can't remember it, how do we know that it's true? It happened. If it's true that it happened, write it down. So it helps you, it reduces stress and uncertainty. You don't have to rely on your memory when you have a pen and a paper in your house. You don't have to rely on your memory if you have a laptop in your house. You don't have to rely on paper, and don't have to rely on your memory if you have got a phone. They go and find where you can put notes in your phone, put calendars, put reminders. Have some way of record keeping. Have some way of keeping notes of important things like your child's autistic journey. Keep it recorded. And you don't have to second guess the patterns of your child. It reduces the feelings of overwhelm by scattered information. Record keeping brings clarity and reassurance. That is why you need to record. Reason number 7, or benefit number 7 of record keeping, is to support future independence. Record keeping helps you to support future independence. As the child becomes a teen and an adult, records can help them. It will help your child also to just go through those records and realize that when they were 2, this is what they were doing. When they were 10, this is what they were doing. Now they are 20. It helps them also to see how far they've come from. It helps them. It will help them also to learn what has worked for them in the past. It helps them to understand their sensory and emotional patterns. And it helps them, it empowers them to advocate for themselves. Parents are essentially building a guidebook to help their child succeed later in life. When you keep a record for your child, you're actually keeping a care plan. If somebody is to come and look after your child, they can refer to those notes that you are making. They can refer to those things that you are recording, and they will be able to support your child adequately using that. So look at those notes and consider them as a care plan, something that somebody can take your child today and look after that child using that. They can get guidelines on what to avoid. They can get guidelines on what to look out for so that they support your child. Parents are essentially building a guidebook to help their child succeed later in life. Reason number 8, which is the last one but not the least, it helps to ensure the child feels seen and supported. Thoughtful documentation shows the child that their experiences matter. And it shows the child that you are paying attention. It shows the child that I am learning who you are and I'm not trying to change you. This strengthens the trust and deepens the connection between the parent and the child. Imagine your child coming across the records that you have kept, the things that you have been telling the professionals, and the things that the professionals have been telling you. And you have kept them somewhere as a record. And they look at that as a 30-year-old adult, and they look at those records from the day you received the diagnosis up to when they are 30, and you hand them over and say, this is what I have been using for you. Imagine them looking there and seeing how you have been supporting them. They can look back and see how far they've come from. I encourage you to keep records because record keeping equips you. Just a quick rundown of the benefits of keeping records. It helps you to understand your child's needs. Number 1, it helps you to track progress over time. You can look back and see that, yes, we are in November, almost end of the year, but we are not where we were in January of this year. We have really progressed. Reason number 3, it helps you to know the routines that have worked and you keep consistent on them. Record keeping helps you to support consistent routines. Number 4, record keeping improves communication with professionals. They can rely on you to tell them the truth because you are consistent in what you are saying. Record keeping helps you prepare for appointments with professionals. Record keeping reduces parental stress. Record keeping, number 7, it supports future independence. Number 8, it ensures that your child feels seen and heard. Thank you very much for watching. I really want to applaud you. Please, if any of what have been said in this video resonates with you, please do let me know in the comment section. And remember to turn on the notification button so that whenever we upload a video, you get a notification. And remember to comment, like, and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye.